Mr. Falzone, could you step up to the podium? This time I'd like to introduce Sal Falzone. Sal is a Navy veteran who served in Vietnam under the rank of seaman. He was a signalman in the Navy for 2 years, having been in the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal, and around the world. Sal is the recipient of the National Defense Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal with the Star. Sal, thank you for your service. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could everyone stand for just a moment of silence? Captain David Rosa, Long Beach, California firefighter, died from injuries sustained from a gunshot wound at a healthcare facility. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers and his family. Also, Deputy Sheriff Patrick Rower and Deputy Sheriff Teresa King were shot and killed as transporting a prisoner to a county corrections court service in Kansas City. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers and their families while they go through this horrible time in their lives. Okay, I'd like to bring this Monday, June 27, 2018 Board of Commissioners meeting at 10 o'clock a.m. in the Commissioners Conference Room to order. I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call. Wait a minute. Where's Tracy at?
She's missing in action. We'll find her. Commissioner Notarianni,
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to have Chris Calvi come up to the microphone. Oh, Maureen's here too. We want to talk about Lackawanna County presents the Scrantastic Spectacular in downtown Scranton, July 3rd, this coming Tuesday. What a great night. What a great event for the families. Lots of family fun. It's all free, and it's great quality of life event. Let's talk about it a little bit.
You know, this is a great Lackawanna County event because there's multiple partners that all work together to put on a really seamless professional show downtown. So it's always July 3rd, which is a Tuesday this year, and it kicks off at 4 p.m. So there'll be music on Spruce Street on the showmobile. The vendors will all be open by 4. There'll be things for kids. The music starts at 5. But then this year we have a new orchestra, the Northern Appalachian Wind Symphony, and they're actually going to start a little earlier this year at 7. So the classical kind of patriotic music will start at 7 and play till 9:30. And then I have to say our partner Entercom really puts on a great firework display. So it's really long and amazing. So we encourage everybody, and the courthouse looks so beautiful. It's just a great event. We want to thank our partners, Scranton Samaro, the City of Scranton, Entercom. I want to thank the staff that works on it and the commissioners for supporting it. We are the major sponsor because we really believe in, and this is a great thing for downtown.
Commissioner Cummings?
Well, thank you, Maureen, for all of your work in this project and for all that are involved. I will be on vacation, so I will miss it this year.
I know,
but
it's
You've been there in the past.
I have been
a
there,
good
and
week
it's
to
beautiful.
go away, but that's why we're
and
thrilled. We do see upwards of 10,000 people if it's a nice night. So we love that the people that are here that come out. But have a good time. You deserve a
The
vacation.
music is great. I like the music, and I haven't heard this one yet, but I'm sure I'll see it on video. So thank you for all your work.
Commissioner Notarianni?
It's a great event. I've attended it, and it's wonderful, and the downtown is full, and it's a great thing, and thanks, Maureen.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, what a great place. Historic Lackawanna County Courthouse. Beautiful grassy lawns. People get to sit. They get to listen to the music. There's food. There's vendors. There's all types of activities. And then at the end of it, after the symphony, then we go right into the fireworks, which actually has music to the background of it, too.
Yeah, that's why I said it is one of the best I've ever seen. It's choreographed to music, and it's about 25 minutes long. So it's quite a display. So I'm very proud of it.
No, I think it is. And like you said, it's one of those events that's great family memories, great entertainment, and you also get to celebrate the 4th of July the next day. This is the 3rd of July.
Kicks off the
So-
whole.
Yeah,
and
it
if you
kicks
take
off
a
the
few
whole
days off
idea.
from work, you have the whole week.
Yeah, it's a great night.
Yeah, I know it is.
At this time, I'd like to ask the commissioners to come up for an unveiling of the actual placard. Lackawanna County presents Scrantastic Spectacular, downtown Scranton, July 3rd. Be there. It's gonna be a great night. This is really fabulous. And the partners are second to none. Every one of these partners have worked so well with Lackawanna County. They understand that this is something that has such an incredible impact. And like Maureen had just said, over 10,000 people come to this event. From 8 to 80, everybody's at it. And if you're gonna be somewhere in the 3rd of July, this is the place to be in downtown Scranton. Scranton Spectacular, presented by Lackawanna County, so it's a great night. Thank you, Commissioners, this is about us too.
Well, thank you to the sponsors. I appreciate them being said as well.
Yeah, like you said, they're big ones, so, great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Maureen. It's gonna be a great night. And people say there's nothing going on. There's lots going on, right, Sean? Isn't there a lot of stuff going on, and you've been down there before. Well, you better turn right around and look at Maureen McGuigan and let her know that. Okay, 18-0142, Small Business Spotlight. Commissioner Cummings.
Today we have Beta Bread Bakery in Delhi. Michael how do I say the last name? Bonczar. Bonczar. Thank you. Come on up
Michael,
to the podium.
step up to the podium.
Tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started, where you're located.
I'm located in downtown Clark Summit on State Street. I opened up in 2010, so I've been going for about 8 years strong now. And little by little over the years, I've seen growth and continue to be prosperous to some degree. And I'm primarily a what you would call an artisan bread bakery. I pretty much just make breads, but I do have some sweets as well. And I go to a lot of the farmers markets in the area. Go to the big one here in Scranton. I go down to South Abington, Wilkes-Barre, Tunkhannock, all over the area, not just Lackawanna County. And yeah, I just kind of like two aspects of my business. There's like a deli cafe where I serve lunch basically and sell the bread, and then I have a little bit of a wholesale business. I do supply some restaurants in the area.
Good.
Currently, the Country Club of Scranton's buying bread. Glen Oak Country Club was buying bread. State Street Grill was buying bread. They come and go. Their menus change and such, but yeah, that's primarily what I got going on.
Well, you're fairly young. How did you decide to? I mean, you look like a young guy to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I always wanted to own my own business. I opened up when I was 24.
Wow.
I'm 32 now, something like that.
24-year-old.
I just always wanted to own my own business. I was thinking, I went to Penn State, and I was thinking I was going to open up a pizzeria because I figured, that would be something easy to get into. And I started teaching myself how to make the pizza dough and accumulating the equipment for dough production. And at some point in time, I started making bread, and I figured that was more of a niche. There wasn't really anybody else in the area doing it. There was one other guy, but he since moved on, so I'm kind of the only game in town, as far as I know. And yeah, that's how it all started. I was going to bake pizzas, and then I ended up baking bread.
So right out of school, you decided to do this?
Yeah, fortunately, I had the time. It took about a year and a half before I opened up my business. Graduated in 2008. Went to the Worthington campus. Well, I started there. I went to Maine for a year, and then I came back and just finished up with a general business degree, an IST minor, and yeah, it took about 2 years. I graduated in 08. I didn't start till 10. I had some other hobbies. I took a night class in machining at Johnson College. Did that.
And when did you start? Did you open up this store right away, or did you? You said you.
2010 was it. I've been in the same
Just
spot.
came. You saw the store and decided that's it. I'm
Yeah,
going
there
for
was.
it.
I went through basically how I ended up with where I did was I looked at a bunch of other locations in the area, and at the time, Gable's Bakery up in Tunkhannock was available, and it turns out the guy who was a part owner in the whole thing was Steve Young and Clark Summit, and he's like, well, if this place is too big for you, I have another spot that's opening up. And it was kind of already equipped for the deli. There was already a food prep area in it, and there used to be a little restaurant in there, so it was a good fit.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, you are. I think you might be one of the youngest that have. Is he or no? That has come in
Yeah,
from small
you're probably
business.
the youngest person to come in.
To
at
start-
24 years old to start a business.
On your
And not a
own.
little business, but like going like right in, not partnering with anybody by themselves.
You have guts, man. Congratulations to you, because you're an inspiration to the youth of our county. I mean, you have a great story that I did not realize that you were so young. Right out of college, started your own business, and here you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had it since 2010.
Yeah.
8 years. I'm very proud to have you here. Thank you so much.
having
Thank
me.
you for your guts and fervor and just the ability to do this on your own. And I'm so proud to have you here. I can't even say that enough times. It's an amazing. So you have an amazing story, whether you recognize that or not. You do. And that's one of the reasons that I had asked the commissioners to do this, to recognize, the type of people that live in our county, and how they're generating business and providing services to our community, on their own talent. This is your talent, and you did it right out of college. You just went right for it, and that's just amazing. So thank you so much. And I read here that you have an oven that you got imported from Italy. Is that correct?
Yeah, about forget exactly how many years ago now. About 4 or 5 years ago, I bought an oven from an outfit out in Long Island, Empire Bakery Equipment, that imports them from an oven manufacturer in northern Italy.
Wow.
And basically, I guess one of the reasons I went that route is because there's a French bread oven manufacturer that I tried to go with, and I got a quote on how much it cost, and it was $90,000 to have this oven
Holy God.
installed, in my location. And then so I went shopping around, and this outfit out in Long Island, for $40,000, I basically bought the same oven. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I went that route. But yeah, bread ovens, sky's the limit. You could, I'm actually at the point where I would like to have a bigger oven, but that would require all the utilities and everything else to go with it. Bigger space, probably three-phase power, different things like that.
Well, we're all into growing businesses, so I don't know if George Kelly is here, but you could certainly come and talk to us at any time. We'd love to sit down with you to talk to you about that and see if there's anything we can do to help you in that endeavor. So,
Okay.
Congratulations, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. I'm so proud of you. I'm sure your family is proud of you. Are any of your family here? You do this on your own?
Oh, for the most part, yeah. My mom helps me at the farmer's market. Some people, if they're familiar with going down to Scranton, they'll probably see her there. She helps me a little bit with the outside sales. My dad will help me a little bit with any of the leftover bread that we have. We usually chop it up and donate it to St. Francis, or there's a women's resource center
Cause.
This guy
down there.
is
And
Yep.
the story gets better and better.
he works down in Luzerne County, down in Plains. So sometimes we go to some places down that way. Yeah, do that too.
Well, I'm going to be sure to stop at your place of business. And you get up at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, not necessarily every day. It depends on how much bread we're baking. I mean, it could be, if there's just bread for the shop, I might only be getting up at 6 o'clock because we open up at 10. If it's a big day in the farmer's market season, we'll start at 11 o'clock at night
Wow.
to get everything all baked for 8 o'clock in the morning or whenever it has to be done for. So it depends what's all going on.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for coming in, and very proud of having you here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Terriani?
Thanks for staying invested in Lackawanna County. It's great to have young people come back and follow their dreams and stay here. That's really important, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Got to sell a lot of bread to pay for that oven, right?
Yeah,
It's
I did.
A lot of work.
Yeah, I got a loan from
Yeah.
Penn Security, or what's it, People Security now?
Yeah,
At the
that's,
time, they were willing to work with me.
that's great, and it's important, and your bread sounds delicious. I'll have to make it a point to get there, too, and again, thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, visit us at the farmer's market. That works too.
I get there quite often. Thank you.
Michael, congratulations. You're made from scratch. Everything's homemade. Getting up at 3 a.m. It's your business, so that really does matter. I'm sure your customers, they're probably like family to you, right? Coming in and out, you have the same people. A lot of them are probably.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, definitely always staying in the business to some of them. Some people I see, very regularly, once or twice a week.
Nice.
Because the bread has got no preservatives in it, so it's
Wow.
you gotta be in and out on the regular. But yeah, definitely, I have some loyal customers.
Let me tell you something. He didn't really speak about his lunches. He makes a sandwich which is second to none on his homemade bread. I was walking State Street back in 2011. It was actually Friday was during the campaign cycle actually, and I walked into his store and I sat down and I had probably one of the best sandwiches you could possibly have. And I'm telling you, people they don't realize it. And you got our superintendent over there. I hope some people from your administration building is walking. I think that's about a block and a half away from your administration building. Am I right? Is it the olive bread? There we go. I just want to make sure. But Michael, second to none. Congratulations. Let's talk about where you're at. What's the address there?
I'm on 404 South State Street.
You got a little sign outside that says "Bit of Bread."
Yeah, exactly. I got a hanging sign on the building. I try to do a nice class act job. Kind of looks got a European style to it.
Nice.
And there's a vinyl sign on the window as well.
Lots of parking both sides of the street. So anybody, there's parking. You can get very close around lunchtime. What's the phone number if anybody wants to call?
570-586-DELI or 3354.
Michael, thank you for coming in. Like I said, when I walked into your shop, and I'm looking at him, I thought, I feel like this guy's in his 20s. And I didn't realize the depth of this business. Congratulations. You went to school, you got your degree, you went right into business. Congratulations.
Awesome story. Very nice.
We have a certificate for you, and
Certificate of recognition, the County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize Betta Bread Bakery in honor of achieving the designation of a small business spotlighted in Lackawanna County, given this 27th day of June 2018 by Commissioner Patrick O'Malley, Commissioner Jerry Notarianni, and myself, Commissioner Cummings. Come on up.
and he taught himself.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you. Thank you so much for your work. You're no Fran, Joe.
All right. Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We'll be up again,
Okay,
absolutely.
very good.
You should have brought
Some bread, some samples, right?
I'm only teasing
I know you're probably working before you had to get up here.
o'clock in the morning. I haven't seen that in 20 years.
Not a good time. Thank you, Michael.
kid.
You have a good day. Congratulations on your business 10 years later.
That's a great story.
Commissioner, before you get into
Oh,
audience
yes, I was gonna-
participation,
I'd like to First and foremost, I'd like to thank our Assistant Solicitor, Don Frederickson, for stepping up to the plate and becoming our Chief of Staff. Thank you, Donnie. Donnie has done this in the past. Donnie has 6.5 years of county government experience, and there was no one else that could make it as seamless as he could possibly do. So I personally would like to thank you for stepping up to the plate and becoming our acting Chief of Staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having the faith and asking me to take the appointment and acting chief of staff. It's important to remember the acting part.
Yeah, but it's no act. You know what you're doing because you've done this in the past,
Well,
and I've seen you do it.
Commissioner Cummings allowed me to borrow her horn in case we need to control the. I know Evie is here today, so we want to make sure she's.
Commissioner Cummings?
Nor do I want the job.
Thank you so much, Chief of Staff Frederickson. I greatly appreciate you stepping up to the plate to help the county in their time of need. So thank you so much. You are
Thank you.
experienced enough and qualified, and I have faith in you, and I think you're going to do an excellent job.
Thank you,
As
Commissioner.
acting chief of
Do my
staff.
best.
Commissioner Terriani?
I've been around Don now for quite a while. I am disappointed in your remarks to the Scranton Times when you told them that you had not told me that. And you're starting off without telling the truth is not a good place to begin as a chief of staff, in my opinion. You not only told me that afternoon, but you also told other employees here the same thing. You called me that evening and you explained to me that you had spoken with John Brazil and confirmed it, and then told the newspaper that that wasn't true. I'm disappointed in that. I hope it doesn't occur again.
Well, that
Commissioner-
depends.
Commissioner, I would
Stop for a
just-
second. That depends on the perception of the truth.
Perception
Why
of the
would
truth.
one of us, as a commissioner, when our policy is a personnel matter, announce that someone is resigning when they weren't? Like, I never thought that he was resigning. I didn't get that point. We didn't even know what had happened.
Told
All we know is there's been an
specifically
issue.
he
We knew there was an
Specifically
issue.
that he was resigning.
No, that was not brought to my attention. It was not brought to Commissioner
Specifically that he
Cummings.
was resigning.
Maybe your ears were plugged up.
Oh, my ears are fine.
Well, I don't know.
It's been longstanding county policy not to discuss confidential personnel matters
With the
outside
media.
of the administration.
And again, it's a little bit
Yeah.
different when it's an official in the part, as opposed to a normal employee.
Is an
in my
employee is an
opinion.
employee, Commissioner, though, I'm sorry. but
Okay, well,
You were
and so were
incorrect,
all of
you were
us.
incorrect in doing that,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Everyone's
You
treated the
violated
same.
county policy and you exposed the county to potential
Well, and
liability.
you could have said it shouldn't have been talked about. You should not to say you didn't tell me that, because it's obviously you did.
Commissioner,
Okay.
it's something that shouldn't have been discussed outside of the
Okay,
confines of.
and that
of
should have
the
been your
commissioners.
remarks.
That's the perception of the
I think I
individual
would
who
need
was
to
in that
explain but-
conversation.
Okay. Very good.
But I'd like to thank you. Thank you for stepping
problem.
at the
Thank
plate, because it really matters, and you do understand the job. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. There's
Before you,
announcement.
before you get into public, yes. Item number 180143, entering into a professional service contract with Municipal Capital Recovery LLC. We received a
No,
request
no,
from...
I got to do the opportunity for the public to
No,
address
we're
the
going to do
board.
this first before we...
Oh, okay, okay, go ahead.
We received a request this morning from the county treasurer asking us to remove that from the agenda because he has to review it and he has some concerns about it. So we're going to pull that item from the agenda, so we won't be voting on that today.
Which one is that?
18-0143, entering into professional service contract.
The
for
municipal capital recovery for the tax claim office.
Oh, good.
So that's taken off.
So that's off the
Well,
agenda.
that's a
Okay,
happy
Commissioners?
day for
Okay.
me.
Well, that wasn't on the agenda on Monday or early yesterday, and that just appeared on the agenda yesterday afternoon late, so I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners. Okay.
Thank you.
We're glad you're glad. Opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. Hi, Joan.
Hi, Joan Hodawana, 220 Linden
Joan,
Street.
you're not going to light the bottle rockets over there for the...
Hey,
for the
if
spec-
if I don't get the 1812 overture, we used to do that.
She's
at-
back there in the back row, and you
We
make
used to do
sure.
that at Fort Huachuca with the 36th Army Band, and we had 6 howitzers, which would fire off, and that would lead into the fight. I don't know how you're going to do that with, what is it, a wind ensemble, a string ensemble?
It's a 49-piece orchestra with 6
Other guy walked out.
Oh,
too.
good. So I'm hoping,
I can't, they did ask
Get
if
out.
they could play that. fireworks are choreographed. I know
Yeah.
some displays match the music,
Yeah.
but it may appear this year, Joan.
Okay.
I just don't want to.
Well, you have to come up to my professional standards.
I don't know where she's going to get the howitzers from.
Hey. Hey, the National Guard has them. At any rate, item 18-0137, the sale of this building, and I assume it's going to go through. I don't see any issues with regard to that. However, having said that, I'll be watching the tax assessor's database to see that little thing go from tax exempt to taxable. God forbid you don't get it done, you know. Because if it's $1.621 million it's being sold for, I don't know what's the assessed value in, but that should bring in a pretty piece of change. So it's not going to be tax exempt, right? Is this deal go
No,
through?
no,
absolutely
Joan, this
not.
is, I usually don't talk back and forth at this point, but just like we had said, consolidation of county government meant that we would absolutely and utterly make sure that this went back on the tax roll. And like some other governments, they might turn around and they'll sell the building after the fact of the building, them actually exiting it. No, this building is going to be signed off and the new owners will be taken over in January of 2019. And it will be back in the tax roll, something that we promised would happen. And it's part of the promise of
Unlike
consolidation.
the Electric City parking garage, right?
What's that?
Unlike the Electric City parking garage, it'll be timely into the tax
There was some
roll.
issues, and Mr. Foley had addressed them the last time, but this is something that is right in the middle of everything that we do, so this will absolutely be.
I'll be looking,
We want you to be looking.
yeah. Now, I know you removed 143 from the agenda, but I'm going to put in my 2 cents as you have it under review. And I would like you to consider this under review. I looked at the backup that you had on the website, and it mentioned at one point that Attorney Joyce's company will be not just doing delinquent taxes for county as a taxing authority, but for other taxing authorities. Now, I haven't heard anything from at least the Scranton School District or the City of Scranton on this issue. And there must be multiple taxing authorities throughout the county, other than the county itself. Has this all been prearranged with all these taxing authorities?
We'll answer it under Commissioner's new business.
Okay, I'd like to hear that. Also, when you put this under review, I would assume that if this goes out to a private contractor, that private contractor is not going to be answerable to the general public, the voters. They will be answerable to you, however, correct? If you put this out to a private contractor? Is that a fair assumption? Okay. The reason I mention that is I have not been impressed by the performance of NDC, which took over the parking garages from the city of Scranton. Every time there's a request for information on their performance and their activities, they basically hide behind, well, we're not answerable. They're nonprofit, and they're still not answerable. So I hope that when you go through the review process, you put in the contract some kind of accountability between you and a private contractor, because the only accountability we, the taxpayers, have is holding you accountable for engaging them as a private contractor.
Joan, I'll let our solicitor answer some of those questions. Go ahead.
Okay?
I would just state that there is a provision in the contract, Joan, that they would be subject to right to knows. In fact, I made sure that was in there.
Oh, good,
I
because
specified that
NEC
be put in.
isn't.
Correct, yeah. And we want to
And-
make sure that they would be subject to any right
Yeah.
to know request that would be
Yeah,
filed.
because, you know, and this may be the greatest thing since sliced bread, just putting it out to a private contractor. I don't know. But I will tell you, I was extremely surprised to read about it in this morning's paper. For me, it was a first heard. And, you know, there are a lot of questions to be asked, and you need to give the general public an opportunity to learn about these initiatives and an opportunity to respond. Because basically, you know, it's in the paper this morning, it got on the website, I would imagine, yesterday afternoon, and it could have been a done deal by noon. And that doesn't give the general public any time to comment. And, you know, you want us to be concerned citizenry and, you know, to fulfill our role as citizens, you know, we have to have time to respond. And I think this is a major event. And that's what I have on the agenda. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
Okay. 18 dash... Oh, good. Superintendent, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. My
morning.
name is Mike Mahan.
Congratulations on the school year being over.
Well, yes, as of yesterday,
Saw the
we're very
kids on the
happy to
bus, saw.
report. Yes, and hopefully we'll be reading some positive news tomorrow on that topic, but that's not on the agenda, and at risk of getting blasted over there. I am here, however, to affirm that Beta Bread is a great place to eat, and anyone who's up there on Main
I had a
Street-
feeling that you must have went there. It's a block and a half away.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a great place, and they really are great. So if you're up there, it is worth a stop. I, too, am here today to talk very briefly about the delinquent tax collection. As the commissioners know, this is not my first time here talking about this issue. And if I may, I want to hand out just two documents. One, and you've seen all these before. You've seen these before. The first is a letter that we received from Mr. Joyce back in February of 2017.
Thanks,
And this letter said that while we had been collecting delinquent real estate taxes on our own for a number of years, that over the course of a few days, Mr. Joyce was asking us to remit 5% back to the county. And while this request was fairly abrupt, I want to thank the commissioners again for affording the district and our representatives the opportunity to at least make our case as to why, we thought that there would be some other alternatives. And the blue sheet is something that I sent down thinking that maybe there was a compromise in the works and something could be done. But we certainly respect the final decision of the county, which was, we need to remit the 5%. All right, and so we moved on from that. We've been remitting the 5%, and we thought, while we prefer to keep it ourselves, it's at least going to the county, and we all serve similar taxpayers. All right, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I looked quickly at the contract that was posted this morning, and that's on the other side of the letter to Mr. Joyce. And I have highlighted in orange there, all right, that the 5% that Mr. Joyce demanded that we remit to the county under the terms and conditions of this contract now are remitted directly to Mr. Joyce's firm. And we thought, we're a bit uncomfortable with the arc of events that have led to that outcome. And you notice there, Lackawanna County is omitted from having to pay the 5% fee, yet the school districts and other municipalities who have not been appraised or asked to be involved in this are being charged. But again, instead of the money going to the county, it's going right to a private company, the very private company of the person who was, as a representative of the tax office, telling us that we had to remit the 5%. So I would respectfully suggest two thoughts. First, if the county is going to be absolved from the 5% fee, not have to remit it to the company, then that should also apply to the municipalities and school districts that are also submitting and having their delinquent taxes collected. And on a more broad scale, anytime there's a change in a government organization, it is an opportunity for reflection and investigation in how to move forward to do better for the individuals and people and constituents that we serve. And with the retirement of the director of the tax office, I think the commissioner should be commended for saying, let's examine and think about how to do this work better. However, I would say that the opportunity is there to involve people in the community. There are some very talented people in our school districts, on the Income Tax Commission, who work for the county, who could come together and look at this very complex issue and perhaps offer some advice, develop proposals, review vendors, perhaps look to collaborate with single tax offices and school districts and all the infrastructure that has been built up. And together, in a way that is open and responsive and positive, we could come up with something ultimately, the decision is that of the commissioners, no doubt, but we could, together as a community, come up with something that perhaps serves our community and our constituents better than, something that is, put before us in a fairly short time frame. Right? So I am not looking for anything to do. I would be willing to participate, although I would be very happy not to. I'm not looking for a job, but I respectfully suggest that there might be a better way to approach this very important issue. And I, again, thank you for your service and highlighting Beta Bread, the opportunity to speak, and I again appreciate the opportunity to be here and working together on this issue, which has been with us for a while.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're charging your residents 2 fees, am I correct? 5% for the county is coming out and 5% for Portnoy? Is that who you use or somebody else?
No, what
What do you charge from, what do they charge?
We are hoping in time to have the county collect this for us, all right? Because right now, we don't want to layer fees. Because there has been a transition, we have continued with Portnoy for collection, all right, which had no fee other than the individual fees that were applied to the taxpayer.
Right.
That money comes in, and then 5% of that is cut off and provided to the county.
Right.
All right. Now, from what I understand, if this arrangement were to move ahead, that 5%, instead of going to the county, actually goes to the business that would be collecting the firm, collecting the money. Again, that's what I read this to say. I could be wrong.
Is that true?
My understanding,
Could you go on the mic, please?
the 5% as part of this contract would go to, the way it's structurally going to work is it's still going to follow the normal procedures it does with the treasurer, but then that 5% would then go to this firm, but out of that 5% would come all of the county's tax claim expenses, employees, equipment, software. In addition to that, they would pay rent. So to say that they're getting 5% is, they are, but what the county is going to lose is their expense obligation relative to the Tax Claim Bureau. And that's kind of the offset in the, and quite frankly, that's what the 5% does anyways. It pays for the Tax Claim Bureau. Now it's going to, if the commissioners approve this, go to this company to pay for that. In addition to that, there will be additional fees, there will be rent paid, and there will be some additional licensing fees and things of that nature. Okay, but that's really the process, the idea, pretty much like Luzerne County.
Yeah, that does bring up a point, though, that I was concerned with, and Solicitor Sarah had talked to me about that. The different boroughs would then proceed to go with private companies. Why would they bother to utilize the county when that's in fact the law? So we don't personally request that percentage from you. That's the law. That's the way the tax law works. We aren't saying to you to, pay us 5% and plus go out and hire some other company that charges the delinquent taxpayers more fees. That's not what we're telling you to do. We collect those for you, and that was the purpose, I guess, at the state level for that law. Not that I agree with tax issues, but I mean, to help the taxpayers out, what I always suggest is that we, and this isn't for all taxes or county taxes, but property taxes be eliminated and actually get House Bill and Senate Bill 76. I've lobbied for that since I'm here.
Sure.
So that would be my answer to you in regards to that. However, with this 5% issue, I believe that that's not what we had asked you for. That is the law. And that's something that all municipalities have to follow, unless I'm incorrect. Donnie,
No, you're correct, Commissioner. The statutory is 5%. Is what you got to remember when Portnoy as a private company collects
Right.
for the districts, they add additional legal fees
Right.
and fees associated with their business also, which the Tax Claim Bureau and this other company would not do.
Correct.
Right.
Thank you.
If I could respond, because
Yes.
I think it is not true that all municipalities are charged the 5%. I believe it's absolutely true that counties have a right, but even in the Blue Report, Lehigh Valley, for example, Lehigh County, for example, has an arrangement where it's modified. And we didn't charge 5% for many, many years. We didn't get into legal trouble for it. It's something the county can do. It's not something the county must do. And I will also say that in the collection of delinquent fees, from what I can tell from this morning, there's a schedule of fees that this group would be charging the delinquent taxpayers for filing fees and a number of different issues.
But hold on
And-
one second.
sure.
Didn't you do an additional 5%, or are you just taking that out of your profits?
No,
Am I
that- we
incorrect
did-
in that?
No, we did not charge and would never charge
Okay.
an additional 5% to our taxpayers.
So you just take it out of
That's
your-
money lost to us. That's one teacher from Abington Heights that comes to Lackawanna County in the form of money. I mean, that's about what it amounts to. We did not increase 5% charge. We didn't do any of that, all right?
Okay.
We simply took about $80,000 of our revenue, and now we don't get it. It comes to the county. And apparently, instead of coming to the county, it's going to be heading over here. And about the fees, all right? Maybe the fees we charge are too high. Maybe the fees this firm charges could be too high, all right? But we don't know that because we don't have a basis of comparison. Portnoy and the many, many other companies that do this did not come in and have access to the data and all the information in the tax office, having worked there. They didn't have that advantage. In fact, I don't think they were even brought to the table. So for us to be able to say, well, this fee is too high or that fee is too low, is a very difficult thing to say in the absence of having all these players coming in and competing against each other. Perhaps Mr. Joyce's firm would lower his fees, seeing that there would be an alternative on the table next to him. So I think there is ample opportunity to achieve what it is you're suggesting, and that is the lowest possible collection costs to our taxpayers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great summer. I want to congratulate you on the basketball team, the
Thank you.
state champs, and your miler. Incredible. Kyle
Thank
did a
you.
great
And-
job.
And you guys have been up all the time. You're
Oh.
great supporters of our school district, and
Kids
I
do a
do
fabulous
appreciate it.
job. Very,
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good morning, Marie Schumacher.
Morning.
Since the other two speakers have spoken to the non-agenda items, I may as well sweep it up. My main concern was with the right to know, but also I do not believe that any contract should be awarded without competition. And the previous speaker talked about a committee, and I think I believe it was Act 32 committee did a good job several years back. And if you're going to proceed, I think that would be worth considering. And then the other item that I had was on the 18-0137. What is the ratio between the selling price and the assessed value? I'm sorry, I didn't have time myself to do that,
I'm
but
not
it
sure.
would be nice to know. I will be back on that same thing later. And then back on the ordinance 254. What are the fees and what is the utilization of those funds that you're planning to borrow? Are they all for the Globe Store, or is it the general budget? That's so, if you
Okay,
could,
thanks.
thank you.
Can you repeat the question on the ratio, Marie, please?
Yeah, what is the ratio between the assessed value of the property, this 200 Adams, and the selling price that you're accepting?
I'm sure it's, yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay. 18-0141.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is the first reading of a general obligation note ordinance. There's no action required by the Board of Commissioners. We'll introduce it at this meeting, then it will be put for adoption at the next meeting in your consideration. Ordinance number 254 of the County Board of Commissioners, Lackawanna County. An ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna, Pennsylvania, setting forth its intent to issue its general obligation note, series of 2018, in a principal amount not to exceed $15 million, pursuant to the Act of the General Assembly, known as the Lackawanna County, or as the Local Government Unit Debt Act. Finding that a private sale by negotiation is the best financial interest of the county, determining that such note shall evidence non-electoral debt of the county, specifying that such indebtedness is to be incurred to provide funds to finance and/or reimburse a project of the county which consists of, among other things, 1, acquiring, planning, designing, constructing, renovating, improving, furnishing, and equipping of new facilities of the county to be used by the county for the county courts. 2, planning, designing, constructing, installing, furnishing, and equipping of improvements and renovations to existing facilities of the county. 3, planning, designing, acquiring, constructing, renovating, and improving roads, bridges, and parks in the county. 4, purchasing capital equipment for use by the county. 5, additional capital projects of the county to the extent approved by the Board of Commissioners of the county. And 6, paying the costs and expenses of the issuance of the note, setting forth the reasonable estimated useful lives of the projects to be financed by the note, accepting a proposal for the purchase of such note at private sale by negotiation, providing that such note, when issued, shall constitute a general obligation of the county, fixing the denomination date, dated date, interest payments, dates, interest rate, redemption provisions, and place of payment of the principal and or the interest on such note, authorizing specified officers of the county to contract with the paying agent for its services in connection with the note, setting forth in substantial form of the note and evidencing the debt, authorizing the execution and attestation of such note, providing covenants related to the debt service applicable to such note to the extent required by the act, and pledging the full faith, credit, and taxing power of the county in support thereof, and creating a sinking fund in connection with such note, authorizing the proper officers of the county to deliver the note upon approval of the Department of Community and Economic Development, providing for the severability of provisions and repealing all ordinances or parts of this ordinance insofar as they are inconsistent herewith. Whereas, it is necessary that the indebtedness of the county be increased for the purposes of providing funds for a project consisting of 1, acquiring, planning, designing, constructing, renovating, improving, furnishing, and equipping of new facilities of the county to be used by the county courts. 2, planning, designing, acquiring, constructing, installing, furnishing, and equipping of improvements and renovations to existing facilities of the county. 3, planning, designing, constructing, renovating, and improving roads, bridges, and parks in the county. 4, purchasing capital equipment for the use of the county. 5, additional capital projects of the county to the extent approved by the Board of Commissioners of the county. And 6, paying the costs and expenses of issuance of the herein defined note and projects. Whereas, to finance the cost of this project, the Fidelity Deposit and Discount Bank, the purchaser, has determined to make a loan to the county in their principal amount not to exceed $15 million, and has issued its proposal to the county for the financing of the cost of the project. Said indebtedness shall be evidenced by a general obligation note in the principal amount not to exceed $15 million, dated and bearing interest from the earliest date of possible issue of the note under the statutory time requirements as set forth in the Act, and a minimum annual rate of interest specified in the proposal, payable on the unpaid balance of the note during the term of the note. Interest is payable on the unpaid balance of the note during its paid term until paid. In compliance with Section 8161 of the Act, the county has determined that a private sale by negotiation rather than public sale is in the best financial interest of the county. The proposal is hereby accepted, and the note in the principal amount is not to exceed $15 million herein authorized to be issued, sold, and is hereby awarded and sold to the purchaser in accordance with its proposal to purchase the said note at par value. The county hereby appoints and engages Stevens & Lee Professional Corporation to act as bond counsel to the county in connection with the issuance of the note and to facilitate the intent of this ordinance. This ordinance shall be effective in accordance with statutory section 8003 of the Act. And again, we're just introducing it, and Tom Durkin and Brian Kozlansky is here to address the board on this.
Does the board have any questions?
I have comments after he's done, but.
Commissioners, I'm just here in case anybody had any questions about any specifics or anything, and Brian Kozlansky's here to answer any specific legal questions about the ordinance if need be.
Tom, these were the specific projects we talked about. This borrowing would be for those specific projects we had talked about.
That's correct, Commissioner. We have a list
We have a
that
list.
Actually we put together some time ago, and we've even pared it down some because it was a pretty extensive list. But these are the projects that we felt were absolutely necessary to be addressed this year and in 2019. And as the ordinance says, the purchase and renovation of a building for the courts,
Right.
there's roads and bridge projects that need to be done. There are some projects that need to be done in the parks, some water filtration projects that need to be done, among other things. There's a major need for hardware and software for IT. There's some maintenance projects that need to be done, some sidewalk replacement, things of that nature, all of which will be included in the $15 million.
Thank you.
We try to be a little bit more expansive in the project description in the ordinance to give you the flexibility as projects go along, if there's extra funds to do something. So that's why it's a little bit more expansive, but it is the list.
Thanks.
And there are things that we really need to have done, right, Tom?
Absolutely, Commissioner. We need to get some stuff done. And again, right now, we have no other resources to fund capital projects other than a borrowing.
And just like your house, you know, if you need a new roof, you get somebody out, you get a new roof, and you
That's correct, Commissioner. You got to do what you got to do.
gotta do what you do. Okay.
Well, hold on. No, first of all, let's put it on the ballot. I mean, $15 million. It was just put on the ballot that we don't want to expend this kind of money for a reassessment, but yet we're going to go out and take a note out for $15 million. Based on the purchase of a building that we did not need right now. So we have two capital projects going on. And one is the Globe, and one now apparently is going to be a building on Wyoming Avenue that I just don't believe that the cost savings are there. I haven't seen them, and then we have additional monies on top of that. So I'm not in agreement with this ordinance, although I didn't vote for that project either. So the other issue is we have roads and bridges and sidewalks at the courthouse that have to be repaired. You know, we could find all kinds of grants for bike studies, but yet our roads and bridges are a mess. Like I said, where is our priorities? So now we have to take a loan out for roads and bridges and sidewalks at our courthouse. Parks and Rec, I'm still waiting for information in regards to that expense at the park in regards to the water filtration. So Gary Cavill was supposed to be working on that, and you know, I've discussed that with outside contractors, and they said that that's completely impossible for that to be costing that much money. So I'd like to know the actual breakdown of those costs, because I only have a large $2.5 million estimated cost, so I haven't received that. You know, if it was just for the costs that we have, other than the new building, I would be happy to support something, maybe half that amount, but not 15 million. And I just can't. I cannot support this. I cannot.
Okay, it's the first reading. There's no action to be taken.
I know there's no action, but I still am waiting for answers, and I haven't gotten those either.
Commissioner, just on the one issue, I'll be meeting with Gary Cavill later today, and I will speak to the county engineer and ask him to provide you with the information on the filtration that we need at the park.
Okay, and also, Tom, in regards to the Wi-Fi costs, I mean, I went back to our meeting, because I was against the new Wi-Fi program that we were having, that we did for the county when it started. And you know, I was here for all those in 2009. And we were supposed to be saving money on all of that. And I've looked, and I'm still not finding any savings. And now here we are spending money on Wi-Fi. What is the cost for the Wi-Fi that we need?
This isn't a Wi-Fi project, Commissioner.
IT costs? Well, then why do we have
Technology,
IT
right?
costs?
It's
The
pure
IT
technology,
project
right?
costs, Commissioner, are predominantly software for our land records offices
Right.
to make all of the land records offices be in the same system so that they would share the same database. So,
I get that.
for example, the issue that we had with the parking garage wouldn't happen because the databases wouldn't be different databases.
That was
like we have
purely a
now.
human breakdown right there. I'll talk about that later with that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I was told that when this Wi-Fi system went into effect, it was going to be cost prohibitive and have everybody connected. And if I remember correctly, the words from Commissioner O'Brien were, "This isn't AOL. This is, we are going to have our own system. So we have the backbone. So we control all of that, and new programs to purchase new programs. I mean, I don't know what they are, so maybe you can get me those in late. Maybe they can, well, not
Tom.
you, but IT can get me those costs
Tom,
and what
th-
they are specifically for.
This expense isn't towards Wi-Fi whatsoever. It's about the technology and upgrading our computer system, right?
It's hardware and software for existing offices in the county.
Okay. Okay.
I'll have to see what they are.
Commissioner, I'll be happy to get you the information that
Thank
we
you.
have. We don't have firm numbers on everything. We have estimates for many of these things, but we have pretty firm estimates. We have talked to software providers who have given us some pretty firm estimates as to what they think the cost will be, so I can get you that list, too.
I appreciate that. Thank
You could
you.
have the county engineer and our director of IT meet with Commissioner Cummings and update her on that, to provide that information.
I will take care of that.
Thank you.
And also have Mr. Kelly, because I know that I've asked in the past about grants, and I know we just haven't been able to get them, but we have got grants for Stafford Industrial Park. And
Yes,
I
we
think-
have.
And our copay on that is actually part of this, but I'm just saying, but something you put in for a grant doesn't mean you're going to get it. That's how it works.
I mean, as a matter of fact, Commissioner, one of the things that we need to pay for that we don't have funding for is the county share of a grant
Right.
to pave Stauffer Industrial Park. We
Correct.
don't have the local share that we need. We got approximately $5 million in that grant, but we need to provide a $200,000 local share. One of the things that this borrowing is going to provide is that
Is that
local share.
200,000?
That's
We also
correct.
had to provide a share for the bike study program for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, correct?
Well, that's
I
not
saw you
what,
try and hold that last
that's not what this
back
borrowing is, Commissioner. I can assure you there is no bike study in this proposed borrowing.
No, I know that. But there was money that we had to, as a county, spend to match that grant for the bike study grant.
I honestly don't
I
know the
believe
answer
it was
to that.
something like 25,000 for the first round, and then it ended up being something like 75,000 from what I can remember.
Mr.
But
Kelly would probably recall that.
Yeah, the Economic Development managed that grant, so
we did have to have a share on it. That's all I'm saying. So, I mean, they all seem to have a share for the county to spend money on. But what I'm saying is our priorities need to be our roads and bridges. That has to be our priorities, and not expending more money on buildings until we can fix our roads and bridges. Not looking for bike studies, not even implementing them, just studies that we're spending money on rather than roads and bridges. I mean, I'm just talking about priorities here. We can support all these other projects. I agree with a lot of the projects that you're talking about, but we just don't have the money. Obviously, we're borrowing it now. So, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Tom.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
And just procedurally, we'll take care of getting everything ready to go for second reading. There's an advertising that we have to put in the paper, but all of that will be ready for the 11th.
Thank you. Okay, resolutions 18-0129. Approve,
Sorry, thank you, Commissioner.
sure.
Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the following payables. Lackawanna County General Fund, numbers 264,952 through 265,637 inclusive, totaling $3,373,091.17, and electronic fund transfers, including all payroll accounts, totaling $2,414,242.05.
Does the board have any questions?
I have a question on, I got a note from Tom Arduino that we have some payments for Donati and Crichton.
Yes, Commissioner, I believe you're referring to, the law firm of Donati and Crichton.
They're reviewed.
Okay, what are those fees for?
That's one of the firms that is involved in the Attorney General investigation at the prison.
They represent certain county employees who have been subpoenaed before the grand jury.
Is this what I had received a call on at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon to discuss? Or no?
Not from,
Okay.
not that
Is that,
I'm aware of.
okay. All right, so is this an addition then that we're going to add on? Is that why they put this here? Attorneys representing the county? I'm assuming. Gary?
This particular invoice has been approved by County Legal Counsel Don Frederickson prior to getting to our office. Our office audited and approved it just recently.
Okay.
June 14th it was.
All right, can we come up with a policy that is going to be in effect regarding legal fees? Because I'm not comfortable making that decision based on a last-minute rush to judgment. And I had to do that this past week, and I don't appreciate that. And I don't know what is happening with that specific
Yeah.
area of what's happening. I mean, I'm told
Publicly-
three different stories. I
Yeah, publicly, I would just like to say at the meeting, it does involve a grand jury investigation, and this firm has been retained to represent certain employees, current employees of the county who have been subpoenaed before the grand jury.
Okay, but proper protocol is that the attorneys, Solicitor Brazil is deciding on whether they're legitimate costs, correct? And then you approve them at that level, and then the controller's office looks at them to make sure that they're legitimate expenses. So then why would I have to receive a phone call? If that's the way it's been and always been the way it's done here at the county, why am I getting asked for my...
No idea, Commissioner.
Gary, could this be possible? I mean, we know that your office takes notice of these. As soon as it comes across the desk, that they could actually let Commissioner Cummings know that something's coming up in the next meeting. Is that possible?
Any invoices
Yeah.
regarding this?
In advance, so she can go and ask the solicitors and stuff.
I was under the impression that you weren't going to pay any of bills pertaining to the Attorney General's investigation without the approval of two commissioners. That may be why they would have called you, conceivably.
That's not our policy, though, because
No,
we've
that's
discussed
what
this.
Controller DeBillio.
We've been holding a bill now for over 3 months, waiting for some additional information from one of the firms. The check has actually become outdated. This is the first payment that's invoice that has come up in quite some time now regarding the situation.
Okay.
So you're just waiting to cross your T's and dot your I's on that one, basically. You're waiting for information to come back. Could you make sure that in the future that anything that comes across your desk that the commissioner will know about in advance?
All three commissioners know
Sure.
in advance, so I will, as soon as we get for any future invoices.
Good.
They're paid.
Yeah, I would suggest too, Commissioner, if you want, I mean, I can forward copies of the invoices before I approve them to your solicitor if you'd like.
No, I'm not even going to know what they're for. Why would I? That's why I said it
I'm
should
just-
be in your hands to do this.
It is, yeah, when we reviewed them to make sure they're correct, I mean, to the extent...
I'm just saying for the record, don't do that to me ever again, because I'm going to say no next time.
You want to? You want?
I'm not going to. I have no idea what these lawyers, I don't understand legal speak like that. I'd have to have my solicitor read it first. And I didn't have that opportunity. So if that should happen again, the answer is going to be no. And that's that. And I just want to make sure on public that I've made you aware of that. That,
John, you've been in the loop. John, you're in the loop on most of this. Okay, just so. Okay.
I'm not happy about it. I just have to tell you that.
Okay.
A decision had to be made.
He can't,
Get in the mic.
she can't hear you, John. You need
Get
a
the mic
microphone.
over to
A
him.
decision had to be made
It's on, but it's not working.
under some time constraints about procuring counsel that was other than the ones which had already been selected, okay? Because of discussions that took place here previously, basically, rather than just go out and hire the person, okay? It was thought by Mr. Brazil that he would at least confer with some of the, at least with me and probably with Mr. Frederickson about this taking place. I
Okay.
contacted Commissioner Cummings to discuss the matter. I don't think I can get into the exact details.
I know you can't
It
really.
does not involve representing any individual in front of any grand jury proceeding or anything of that nature. It's a matter that came up basically about information connected with that situation.
Yeah, it basically was one law firm didn't feel comfortable representing in a specific area and felt that they didn't have the qualifications. That's the reason that I said yes. However, it was a last-minute phone call, and I'm not doing that. So, so John, if you get a call like that, just tell them I won't, don't even bother calling me, because it's not going to happen.
Commissioner, that was last minute on this end too, and that was something we...
I understand. That's why, yeah.
Made the point, don't do this again.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because we felt the same way you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of rushed, that was rushed, yeah. That was,
Saying, what are you doing?
we weren't happy about that.
More
yeah.
legitimately, from what I understand, under a time limit, so.
Right, I understand. But it's always under a time limit, you know.
It was a burden
Management through
on
crisis, yeah.
everybody, really, that everybody had to drop everything and address this in the middle of the afternoon. When everybody was
On a Friday,
Yeah, when everybody was off. On a Friday, when everybody was off.
where you can't call anyone for information because nobody's around. Okay, thank you.
Gary, everything else on the payables up to snuff? Everything good?
This is in order.
In order? Okay, great. Okay, I'd like to make a motion approving current payables.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
I'll abstain.
Yes.
Yes. 18-0130, awarding the drug and alcohol audit.
Thank you, Commissioners. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby award the drug and alcohol audit for the year ended December 31st, 2018 to Michael Barbetti, LLC, Dunmore, at a cost not to exceed $11,000. Here to address the Board is Tom Durkin, our CFO.
Good morning again, Commissioners. This is just
Bless you.
an engagement letter that we received from the Barbetti firm to renew their contract to do the drug and alcohol audit for 2018. Every year, we have to engage auditors for many of our component units. This is one of the component units. Barbetti's been doing the audit in drug and alcohol for the last 4 years. They are well satisfied with the work that he's done, and we're just asking that we renew the contract for 2018 at this time.
Does the board have any questions? Okay, I'd like to make a motion awarding the drug and alcohol audit. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
18-0131, entering into a trolley agreement.
Thank you, Commissioner. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into an agreement on behalf of Electric City Trolley Museum and the Project 505 Committee for the restoration of a trolley. And here to address the Board on this matter is Mr. Wayne Hiller, our Trolley Museum and Facilities Manager.
Morning, Wayne.
Commissioners. Basically, this is an agreement that I requested between Lackawanna County Trolley Museum and the ECTMA Volunteer Group, which is the Electric City Trolley Museum Association, Car 505 Restoration Committee. Trolley Car 505 is now stationed in the County Trolley Restoration Shop, which is located next to PNC baseball field, and guidelines needed to be drawn up concerning the funding, the car ownership when completed, and guidelines for outside vendors when hired by the committee to follow when performing restoration in our shop. This also included designated work hours when the county employee staff are working and on duty to oversee the work. This agreement states that all outside vendors are to be fully insured and that the county is not liable for any car damages or injuries while performing restoration. Once the restoration is completed, this Scranton Transit Company car 505, which was an electromobile and a Cadillac in its day that operated in the Greenridge section of Scranton, will be operating on our trolley line for our tourists and folks from our area to ride and enjoy. Thank you.
Does the board have any questions for Mr. Hiller?
This is. I don't have my sheet. My sheet is missing here from my questions.
So solicitors, basically, this is basically a sign off that if any of them get hurt, that the county's not liable, right?
We're going to take ownership of the trolley,
At the
Commissioner.
end.
However, no, I think we're ownership now of the trolley. It'll be our trolley.
Correct,
but
once
they're-
it's in our
correct.
restoration
Yeah.
shop,
Correct. So it's
even
going to be
though
our property.
they're footing the
But
funding of
We're
it.
not responsible for any of the
Responsible for their work, what they're doing there.
That's what my question
We'll
was.
be
Where are they
responsible
getting
for-
their funding from? They're getting it
From grants and private donations. No county money is used.
But where's the grant from?
There's numerous grants throughout the county. I can get you a list of them.
I know you've had
exactly.
events, there's different organizations that have given to you.
Like different foundations and things like that, the Gertrude Hawks Foundation.
I remember you
and
saying that,
things
but
like
is there LSA funding in this as well?
There is.
Okay, LSA funding is gambling money, casino money, just so the public knows. I just want the public to know that. Thank you.
Correct, and Solicitor Frederickson, you understand that historical foundations and
Yes.
companies are allowed to apply for that grant, and we did receive grant money for
I get
applying.
it. I get it. I'm just saying, as a taxpayer, LSA money was supposed to be used to help property taxes, not to fund the purchase of a trolley that needs to be repaired. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel, and it has nothing to do with you personally.
No, I understand.
Just telling you. I mean, thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. I'd like to make a motion entering, as the board, does any other questions for Wayne?
No, I'm just trying to give the public the reason why I'm going to be not supporting this project. So.
I'd like to make a motion entering into a trolley agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
No, and based on the fact that there's grant money from LSA funds that are being utilized, and I told you, anytime there's LSA funds used for projects other than saving property taxes, I will not vote for it.
Yes. 18-0132,
Thank you, Wayne.
approving the Human Services Block Grant.
Thank you, Commissioner. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the Human Services Block Grant in the amount of $11,112,194 for fiscal year 2018-2019 as attached hereto. And here to speak on that today, we have Bill Browning, our Director of Human Services.
Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is the block grant that serves behavioral health, intellectual disability, early intervention, and homelessness programs for the county. It's primarily state and federal, funded with about a 4% county match. We serve about 27,000 residents and counties with these dollars. The county match is roughly $400,000.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
Was there something in here for a study to be done, or is that a separate?
That's a separate item.
Okay, if you just let me know which one that is, thanks.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion approving Human Services Block Grant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 18-0133, entering their purchase service agreement.
Thank you, Commissioner. You might as well stay there, Bill. You got the next two. So.
Yeah,
All right.
stick around.
Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a purchase of service agreement for the Department of Human Services, Office of Youth and Family Services, and the Children's Home of Easton from July 1st, 2017 until June 30th, 2018. And here again is Bill Browning.
This is a residential placement facility. We don't use them very often. We're the lowest use in the state. However, we are required to have contracts if we do use them, and this Children's Home of Easton is one of those residential facilities.
Okay. Does the board have any questions? Okay. I'd like to make the motion entering into the purchase service agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 18-0134, entering into agreement with the University of Scranton.
Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into an agreement with the Center for the Analysis and Prevention of Crime of the University of Scranton and the Lackawanna County Office of Youth and Family Services for an Arts Engage program. And again, Mr. Bill Browning.
Okay, this Commissioner Cummings, this is for this study. The University of Scranton is partnering with our Research and Development Department to conduct a survey of our longstanding Arts Engage program to see what the benefits, if they're based on the data that we'll receive, whether we tweak the program, continue the program, et cetera. But it would allow us to have at least a level of sophistication that we don't have currently in evaluating a program for its effectiveness.
What's the amount on this, Bill? Is there an amount? What is this?
It is, I apologize, I think it was 14,000, but I did have that in my notes. I do apologize.
Here's the agreement. Hang on a second.
Okay, does the board have any other questions?
Yeah, I'm still looking for the
Okay.
amount. The amount on this is.
Yeah,
Is it
and
in the
I
agreement?
apologize. I had it in my notes, and I don't know what.
County agrees that the payment of 25% of the fees due for this project will be paid at the completion of the administration of the pretest surveys. Who are the recipients of this
The
survey?
amount the county is paying is $12,175, Commissioner.
$12,175. Out of our general fund or out of?
It's out of our budget.
Out of
and
your budget.
It's reimbursable by the state.
Okay, so that comes out of
Comes out of Act 148 dollars primarily.
Act 148. Okay, and this
So it's
is,
about $2,000 county share.
could you explain what this is to the public, please?
Sure. We've since 2008 we've funded an arts program for disadvantaged kids throughout the Lackawanna County. There are high-value, high-quality arts programs: painting, drawing, acting, theater, dance, etc. It gives an opportunity for disadvantaged children to participate in activities that would be that they would not be able to be exposed to without this intervention. It is listed as a prevention service and has been approved by the state since 2008 as a prevention service. We know that these kids are involved in activities rather than other negative activities during that time, but we want to know further is if the original premise was, would this improve their attendance in school? And again, it's voluntary participation of the parents, but we want to look at various metrics to see, are there other things that we can replicate to improve these kids' lives? And if we're getting the bang for our buck, to be honest with you.
So it's just a study to see if it worked.
Pretty much.
So we don't know if they attended school.
I mean, we have anecdotal evidence, but this will allow us a survey, and we'll have a statistical department at the university that will be helping us collect that data and format it in a way that's that meets industry standards and research standards.
Will you have to contact these children at all?
I mean, they're contacted within the program. They fill out a survey, and they've helped us craft the survey, a pre-test, post-test.
Are they required to do these surveys?
They are to fill out the form. And that was
What-
one of the conditions when we entered into this with the state, that we would be looking at progress of this youth, because although it's a good program and there's obviously the altruistic component of it, we want to make sure that it goes beyond just something that's nice, that it's having lasting effect.
Can I get a copy of the questionnaire that you're going to be giving these
Sure.
kids?
Any other questions? I'd like to make a motion entering an agreement with the University of Scranton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
I'm going to abstain from that until I research that further.
Yes. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Commissioner.
18-0135, creating and organizing a municipal board.
Thank you, Commissioner. A resolution signifying the intent of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna to create and organize a municipal board pursuant to the county code to be known as the Lackawanna County Fair Board, authorizing and directing the transfer of jurisdiction of the said board to the Lackawanna County Fair and Recreation Authority, directing notice of the resolution to be published, designating the purposes of said board and appointing the first members of the board and fixing their terms of office, and authorizing the taking of all such action as may be necessary and appropriate to organize the said board. Whereas Lackawanna County is a third-class county existing pursuant to the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and two, whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna has determined that it is in the best interest of the citizens of Lackawanna County to create a fair board for the purpose of establishing, organizing, financing a permanent annual fair and festivals for recreation purposes within Lackawanna County, and securing, developing, and maintaining a permanent fairgrounds within Lackawanna County, including without limitation real estate, right-of-way easements, equipment, and related property, both tangible and intangible. Now, therefore, the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna hereby ordains as follows. Section 1. The Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County hereby signifies its intent to create and organize a fair board under the provisions of the county code as amended. 2. The name of the proposed board shall be the Lackawanna County Fair Board. 3. The names, addresses, and terms of office of the first members of the board, being each a citizen of the County of Lackawanna, are as follows. 1. Armand Olivetti, Roaring Brook Township, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2022. Kurt Camoni, Jessup, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2022. Jim Rodway, Peckville, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2022. Corey Sutz, Jessup, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2021. Michael Toludo, Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2021. Dominic Perini, Jessup, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2020. Sherry Pritchett, Scott Township, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2020. Chris DiMatteo, Moscow, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2019. And Robert Nolde, Scott Township, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2019. Section 4, the Fair Board may designate such other persons to serve ex officio or auxiliary members of the Fair Board as it deems necessary and appropriate to carry out its functions. Number 5, jurisdiction of the functions and duties of the obligations of the Fair Board is hereby transferred to the Lackawanna County Fair and Recreation Authority, which is hereby designated and delegated to exercise the supervisory and managerial powers of the Board of Commissioners over the Lackawanna County Fair Board. Number 6, the purpose of projects of the board are as follows: to establish, organize, and finance a permanent annual fair and festivals for recreational purposes within Lackawanna County. And number 7, all resolutions or parts of resolutions inconsistent herewith are hereby rescinded. Number 8, if any section or closeted provision of this resolution shall be deemed to be invalid or unconstitutional or any court of competent jurisdiction, such decision shall not affect the other sections, clauses, provisions, or portions of this resolution that will remain in full force and effect, and this resolution shall be effective upon adoption. And here to speak about that is myself. As you remember, we created a fair authority through ordinance, which has been established by the state and authorized by the state. The Fair Authority met with members of the state Fair and Agricultural Department, and the County Fair Authority would be eligible for state money and grants if the county has a fair board, not an authority, but a board. So this resolution will create that fair board, and then we will transfer authority to the Fair Authority, who will oversee it. And this will make them eligible for state money, for grants, and so forth through the State Agricultural Department.
Okay. Okay, does the board have any questions? I'd like to make a motion. Creating and organizing municipal board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. 18-0136, approving an amendment to Taylor tax increment financing.
Thank you, Commissioners. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners, Lackawanna County, does hereby approve an amendment to the June 17, 2015 Resolution Number 15-0133, approving a tax increment financing plan referred to as the Taylor Tax Increment Financing District and Oak Street TIF, in cooperation with the Borough of Taylor and the Riverside School District, the Lackawanna County Redevelopment Authority. Whereas the County of Lackawanna has previously adopted the plan pursuant to Resolution Number 15-0133, and whereas pursuant to Section 13 of Resolution 15-0133, the Redevelopment Authority is authorized to propose and the county may adopt such amendments to the plan as are necessary and which are authorized by Section 8 and Section 6A of the TIF Act. And whereas it is necessary to amend the plan to reflect the creation date and time of December 15, 2017, replacing the prior date of June 17, 2015, so that the plan may be fully financed, realized, and accomplished in pursuant with the TIF Act. And whereas all other terms, definitions, and provisions of the plan previously approved by Resolution Number 15-133 shall remain the same and be adopted and incorporated as fully set forth herein. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Lackawanna as follows. Creation of the term, the plan shall be amended to reflect the creation date of December 15, 2017. The county is hereby determined that the time provided under Section 5, subsection A, subsection 6 of the TIF Act subsequent to the public hearing has passed as of the date of adoption of this amendment. All other terms, definitions, and provisions of Resolution Number 15-133 are incorporated, and the same may be fully set forth herein at length. Being adopted on this date, June 27, 2018. Here to discuss this with you is George Kelly, our Director of Economic Development.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, George.
We previously brought this to your attention for approval for a tax incremental financing project. It's a public-private partnership where the three taxing bodies will forego the taxes for a period of 12 years and actually invest that back into a project to make it shovel-ready. So we have actually supported this project by doing the infrastructure, getting utilities to the site, and it was a brownfield that has been vacant forever, very long time. It's a great project. Nothing else changes except for the start date. There was a 2 to 3 year delay in getting it off the ground. So therefore, to give us the time to fully pay back the debt of 12 years, we just need to change it from June of 2015 to starting at December of last year.
Okay. Does the board have any questions?
Taylor approved this already?
Excuse me?
Taylor Borough approved it?
Taylor Borough did not pass a resolution. The school district did, which is the majority of the taxes. Taylor, we sent them all the proper notices as required. We had to give them at least 30 days' notice prior to our public hearing. We conducted a public hearing for anyone to come in for any objections. No objections were voiced at that time. So right now, we have the school board, who has a major part of the contribution, on board with it. We're looking for us to be on board. Taylor did not object, but they did not do a formal resolution, nor are they required to do so.
Don't they usually?
They're not required to.
We have the authority, according to the TIF Act, to make the changes as required to make this plan work. What we did is we asked both the taxing bodies to pass a resolution just as a courtesy, and also so 10 years down the line and 9 years down the line, someone doesn't come back and say, I don't want to pay those taxes for the last 3 years. Wasn't required, but as a courtesy, wanted to give them the opportunity to weigh in on the matter.
But there's been no objection.
No objection at all.
Okay. Okay.
And George, you're just changing the date of start from June 15th to December 15th, 2017. So
That
it's
is
a 6-month,
correct.
it's a 6-month change. Is what it is.
Oh, it's almost about 2 years from June, or a year and a half from June of 2015 to December of 17.
So it's already voted on.
17, though, I'm sorry. The one I read said 17.
The
So
numbers
it's-
just
So we
switched.
actually
It's
voted for
June
something.
17th
That's what I'm
to
saying. So
15th.
this is already voted on?
Voted for a change.
Oh,
To
okay.
December 15th of 2017.
I get it now.
Okay, so we already voted.
Just changing
They
the
already
date.
voted on all this, so we're
It's
just
all been
changing the
voted,
date.
it's
All
all
right,
been
okay, got
Changing the
it.
date.
Everyone's on board. Just change the
Thank
date.
you. Sorry, thank you.
Does the board have any other questions? I'd just like to bring up that, that area, I think there was a large mine fire. Neighborhoods, schools, churches, stores, bars, you name it, were basically had to be torn down because of the mine fire, and I don't think there's been any taxes paid on any of that property for decades. And it's been all fields, and the only thing that was left was maybe the streets, and they were vacant for years, so
It was
this is
woods,
a-
uneven woods, it was slag piles, there wasn't anything left there at all. So it's just been a brownfield, a wasteland for all these years. So
If you go
it's-
by there now, there's like a lot of work being done right now. They're actually doing all the.
I know, I saw it, it's just, I know there was some contention among the residents, so.
The property actually was split and subdivided, and there is a senior living center going up next door to that property too. So we're going to see significant improvements to the property, as well as some additional taxes coming to all three taxing bodies after the period of paying back for the infrastructure.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that's gone on. I think it's a plus. I'd like to make a motion approving the amendment to the Taylor tax increment financing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, George. Okay. 18-0139, appointments to the Workforce Development Board.
Food service?
Oh, geez,
You-
sorry.
We didn't do the
You wanna-
conservation.
we should do one through nine.
I forgot. No, I forgot. No, I went over 140.
Okay, that's, all right.
Okay, 18-0140, entering into a food service management agreement. The word to be mad at me on this one.
Thank you, Commissioner. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a food service management agreement with Aramark Correctional Services LLC for the Lackawanna County Prison to commence on the effective date and expire on July 31st, 2021. And here to speak on this is the warden, Mr. Betty. Tim.
Good morning, Board.
I know there's a lot of pluses to this contract compared to the others. Let's hear some of them.
Yeah, I know that there was a very distinct direction about ensuring that the inmates would be provided with milk. Milk is in there. We've settled on the price per meal for both staff and inmate prices. A couple other things that are in here. I think it's a very favorable contract for the county. I think we're going to get a lot for our dollar here.
Good.
It's a 3-year contract with Aramark Food Services.
Does the board have any questions for the warden?
Just a comment, thank you for all your work on this, and thanks for getting
There's a lot of work. You're right.
the
Commissioners,
questions answered.
if I may, Aramark apparently is providing $1 million of general liability insurance.
We're amending that. I was just gonna.
We're amending it?
Yeah, we're gonna ask you to pass this subject to one conditional change Rick Jones, our risk management director, did review the contract, and he is requesting that they provide $5 million and $1 million liability, so it'll be a total of $6 million. And they're agreeable with that, so they're making that one change. And so we're going to ask you to approve the contract subject to that one clause being added.
Okay.
And they've already provided us with a certificate of insurance indicating that there's $6 million.
Okay.
to line.
I'd like
Something that we would suggest also.
Sure. I'd like to thank the administration, and like you said, I know there's a lot of work that went into this, and the product should be a lot better than the current food that you're actually receiving.
Yep, I'm
for
looking
both
forward
the
to it and
staff and
everybody
the,
else. Yep.
the inmates.
Kind of got interrupted there, so if I can
ahead.
complete my sentence. I'd like to thank you for listening to the people that came in to complain about this one issue, and you know, it was legitimate to them and to us as well, and to you, obviously. So, you know, the people's voices are heard on subjects, and we're trying to do the best we can, and so are you. So, thank you so much, Warden. I appreciate your work, and I realize that it's a difficult position you're in most of the time between the commissioners and the public and the prisoners, and I do appreciate your work on this and other areas. So,
Well, thank you very
good job.
much, Commissioner.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion entering into a food service management agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Warden. Okay, 18-0138, appointment to Lackawanna County Conservation District Board.
Thank you, Commissioner. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners, Lackawanna County, does hereby reappoint the following individuals to Lackawanna County Conservation Board. George Shapuk, German, Pennsylvania, to a 4-year term effective immediately and to expire on December 31st, 2022. And Frank Kozik, Dunmore, Pennsylvania, to a 4-year term effective immediately and to expire on December 31st, 2021. And these are reappointments, I understand.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
Do I have to can I
No,
can vote on this, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if there's anything you
I
want to say,
just
because I
have-
know how
I-
much this means.
We have a great board. These guys and gals work really hard, and they do so much for the county, and I appreciate the work they do. I hope that they continue on for years to come, because you'd be hard pressed to find anyone so dedicated to the job that they're doing in their work, and it's not all negative that I thought it was going to be. And Commissioner, I've always told, I think he wanted me to go on that because he thought I wouldn't work out well, but guess what?
No,
Fooled
I didn't
you. I'm only teasing you. No, it's been interesting yesterday. I mean, I was literally doing farm inspections. Who would have thought? You know, that's...
I just didn't know you're such a pro-nature type of person. I don't know. Okay.
Well, there's a lot of things that the people don't know about me, including you guys. But I'm not an environmentalist. I could tell you that. I don't agree with some of the extreme environmentalists that are out there. But you know, I'm not an extreme person either, which I know a lot of people will disagree with. But it's a great board to work on,
Yeah,
and I
they're really
appreciate
good
their
people.
work.
They are good people. They're
I mean,
very good.
and they do a lot of things with the community that for education and making sure that the public's aware of what they're doing. They try to be very transparent in everything they do, and I'm trying to help them to get more recognition. And I appreciate the Scranton Times for the stories they've done. Thank you, and I look forward to doing more in the coming month and a half. I know we're working on the Penn State and Chesapeake Bay project. So we'll be talking about that as well, on how wonderful our farmers are doing and the help that they've provided Chesapeake Bay.
I'd like to make a motion for the appointments of Lackawanna County Conservation District Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 18-0139, appointments to the Workforce Development Board.
Thank you, Commissioner. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby reappoint the following individuals to the Workforce Development Board. Maureen Brennan, Cruise Systems Corporation, to a 2-year term to begin immediately and expire on June 30th, 2020. John Gleason of Gleason Cabinetry Company, Incorporated, to a 2-year term to begin immediately and expire on June 30th, 2020. Mike Hanley of the United Neighborhood Centers, to a 2-year term to begin immediately and to expire on June 30th, 2019. Elizabeth Leo of Moses Taylor Hospital, to a 2-year term to begin immediately to expire on June 30th, 2020. Michael Narcavage of Southwest Energy to a 2-year term to begin immediately and to expire on June 30th, 2020. And Stephen Juliana, Quadrant Engineering Plastic Products to a 2-year term to begin immediately to expire on June 30th, 2020. And be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby appoint the following individuals to the Workforce Development Board to 2-year terms to begin immediately and to expire on December 31st, 2020. William Boyle of the Dime Bank, Sandy Fasula of Garrity's Supermarket, Al Patel of Al's Quick Stop, John Pezzavanto of Pezzavanto Monuments, Anna Rinaldi of Simona America, Keith Baker, Assistant Regional Director of the Bureau of Workforce Partnerships and Operations. Duly adopted on this day, June 27, 2018.
Does the board have any questions? I'd like to make a motion for the appointments to the Workforce Development Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'd like to thank everyone who put in for reappointments and all of the new people that are going on the Workforce Board. Good luck, and I know a lot of them have businesses within the community, and they're going to bring some new ideas to the board. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion 18-0137.
It's a motion to award a Lackawanna County bid for the sale of the County Administration Building at 200 Adams Avenue, Scranton, Pennsylvania, to Jefferson Warner LLC of 2030 Timon Street, Suite 203, Allentown, Pennsylvania. The highest responsible bidder at $1,621,000, Commissioner.
Does the board have any questions?
Just what was the appraisal on our building? What was it 2.1 or something?
It was 2.
I think it was $2 million, Commissioner,
2 million?
I believe. Yeah.
2 million, 2.1.
Yeah. I think it was 2. Yeah.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hey, listen, let's move out, man. I'm ready.
This was
Start packing.
Start packing your stuff, because I'm just so thrilled.
This was an advertised sealed bids. The sealed bids were received by the county controller, who opened the bids at a public process. And
right here.
The high bidder, there were 2 bidders. The high bidder was Jefferson Warner for $1.62 to 1.
Commissioner Terriani?
Nope, I'm good.
I think this is a momentous occasion. We've been waiting for this. From when we bought the Globe Store, I think it was April 26, 2016. The whole idea, even before that, was that we would sell the building before we were exiting the building, which we came through with. We're going to vote this today, and that will absolutely be a promise that we took care of. This is going to be made sure that it'd be earmarked, and no one asked us to. We did this. We made sure this is earmarked to be back on the tax rolls. This building has been on the tax rolls since it was bought by many administrations ago, and it's going to go back on the tax rolls. And I think it's a great building. It's right here on the corner, right across from the courthouse. And our current building, which is going to house all of Lackawanna County government, something that many, many, many administrations have wanted to do that have not been able to do. To be able to have it all, one-stop shopping, in 255,000 square foot building that's accessible by buses. We have the intermodal down the street. It's going to bring the 100 block of Wyoming Avenue back to life. People in the 200 block that have businesses are so happy, including the owner or leaser of the Ritz, that we're going to be infusing that area just with hundreds of employees, not to say all the individuals that are going to be coming to the government center every day. And also that the money that we spent on, that the taxpayers spent on this building is the money they've been spending on rent and lease receipts for years, and that's all they had to show for it was some paper. This is a government building that's on behalf of the people, in a building that everyone over the ages of 30 have some great memory of it when it was the Globe Store. So I'm just so happy today. And also that the building was bought for $1.3 million, and we're getting $1.6 billion today. So this is a great day, and I'm just so happy. Okay, I'd like to make a motion awarding the Lackawanna County bid for sale for the County Administration Building, 200 Adams Avenue, Scranton, to Jefferson Warner LLC, 2030 Tillman Street, Suite 203, Allentown, PA 18104, to the highest responsible bidder at $1.6.21000-00 million. What a great day. Do I have a second?
Second. Yay.
Roll call.
Yes?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, opportunity for the public to address the board.
Joan Hodawana, it's 220 Linden Street, Scranton. Lorraine, have you been looking at that book on Wolforge and music?
I read that book. That book
Was
is
it good?
awesome. I'm done with it. Yes, thank you so very
That's-
much. I greatly appreciate
Keep
that.
that, and what do you see what I'm getting you for Christmas?
Now I have to buy her something.
I don't say Christmas is coming, I gotta find a gift. I see something that says, that's perfect. So, I have something
That
for
was
you.
so nice of you to do. I actually have a bookmark in it that I have some things I wanted to ask you about that were in it because
Do you have memories in there?
Yes, I did. There
good.
was, I think Allen's Drugstore was in that, and so was Main Street Music was completely different when I was growing up, so that's where I grew up at.
Yeah, that's something to give to your kids too. So they
Really
know,
nice
you
of
know
you.
where you grew up.
Thank you so
And,
much. That was really
good.
nice
Somebody's
of you.
got to do one now in West Scranton. We got somebody to do that. That'd be great. Okay, now let's get down to business.
Yes, ma'am. Now she's gonna
Now
hit me
that
with
you have done the first reading of this general obligation note for up to $15 million, may I respectfully suggest that you earmark some of that money and buy yourselves working microphones.
Yeah, right.
Every speaker should have a working microphone. This is a public meeting. Those of us sitting in the peanut gallery would like to hear what's being said. We don't come here because we have nothing better to do. We want to participate.
I thought you just liked this, that's why you came.
No.
It's not true? Just wondering, Joe.
Not true. But we want to participate in county government.
Nicer than Scranton City Council
Okay.
meetings, though, right?
Well, but I'm saying, I mean, that to me
Just teasing.
is a good investment. And if we don't have the money, I'll arrange some bake sales and car washes and I'll give you the money. But we should be able to hear everything.
You're right.
Okay, so, when you do capital budgets and your other spending plans, get that in there and keep it up to date. Okay, one thing I would also recommend is something that Scranton does, which may help you and help the citizens, and that is one business day before their council meeting. They will print out the agenda and all the resolutions and ordinances that are proposed and all the backup. And it may be a piece of paper this big. Okay, so anybody could go to the city clerk's office and read through it. Okay, they don't have to print off half a ream of paper on their computers at home or whatever. That would also get you into the habit of you should have your agenda fixed, except for valid emergencies, at least one business day before this meeting. So that, I could come in at 10 o'clock yesterday and on your desk out there would be this pile of paper so that I could go through it if I wish. I think it's very useful. Very, very useful, okay? And this business of, like this morning's surprise in the paper about this, tax claim bureau proposal that you pulled off the table. There are going to be emergencies, granted. But those should be such rare events that we should never be surprised that way. We should have at least 24 hours as citizens to see what's on your agenda and the rationale and backup for it. Just a suggestion, and if you need money for the paper, I'll donate that too. Okay? Now, you said some time back that once a quarter you're going to take this road show out in the county. When is your next date and location for you putting this show on the road?
Probably one of them in
Tracy.
July, I think.
You don't know yet?
No.
It's one every quarter that I was given.
But you haven't set the location or the date yet?
I thought it was set. We already set the dates. I thought, well, what is the next date?
Okay, well, as soon as you figure that out, please get it publicized, put a press release to the paper so they can put it in, so, you know.
We did our meetings for the year. I'm confused. Why?
We know the dates, but you just don't know which one of them's on the road, right?
I thought we discussed it, but okay.
I know we're gonna have 4.
Yeah,
we're gonna have 4 of them on the road.
I sense that it's coming up because, you know, you're almost halfway through the year right now.
Yeah, time goes by
Just
quick,
3
doesn't it?
more days. Also, since you got me thoroughly confused on the accounts payable about legal fees, it brings to mind the ongoing question, what is your grand total on legal fees?
I already provided that.
Gary?
It's in the neighborhood of 3 million, but I'll get you the exact figure.
3 million? No.
300,000.
Good God, Gary.
Jesus, I just say, everybody up here is gonna fall over. At least 2 of us were.
I just got my breath back. Are you kidding me?
I thought the last time we talked about this in
Well, don't
February,
you feel
it was
better?
like,
It's 300,000.
it was over 300,000.
Were you not at
Was it
the
in
meeting where I
February?
had the numbers?
I don't. She might have missed that one.
Yeah, because you might not have been here then.
Okay, all right, let's keep running total, so every time you have a meeting, you should have that at your fingertips.
360, was, what, 365?
It was 360
something
last
like
time
that.
I heard.
Okay.
Whatever, but I would request that every time you have this public meeting, you have that figure ready, okay? And last but not least, since you have approved the sale of this building, and so you're burning your bridges, so to speak, I would like an update on the status of the renovations to your new government center. Are you going to be moving in on 1 December?
You can come to my
earlier,
office
later?
after the meeting, I'll show them.
Okay, is 1 December still the date when we hoist our sails over there, or what?
Well, I've been discussing, I think what we're going to be doing, Commissioner, from what our updates say is we'll be moving offices, not all at the same time, but
Yeah,
prior
it's
to the-
impossible. It'll be like a piece at a time. And the other thing is,
Yeah.
we will have an update probably at the next meeting, the meeting after that in July, letting you know what's going on. But I could personally tell you, and Commissioner can too, that all the framing is in, all the electrical's in, and a lot
Sure,
of
it's
the
going
plaster, the plaster board is basically, most of it's plastered. I think the only place that's not actually structurally, I think they're just starting to fit it out is the commissioner's area on the 6th floor. And most people don't know this, but the Globe Store, you can't see it, but the Globe Store has a 6th floor.
Yeah.
You can't see it from the street.
Yeah, so,
You can't.
but you don't have a sense of date when you'll be totally vacated out of this building and totally over there?
September
We-
1st, no.
Okay.
Well,
That's what I want. I might be over there.
we have till up until I think January 15th need
Okay.
be, but December
God, no,
December
no.
2nd is the deadline for them to be out, or they'll start paying the
If it's
contractors
January,
themselves.
there's going to be like a Cummings tornado going through Lackawanna County because it's going to be December 1st or nothing. I mean, that's just the way it's going to
Yeah,
have
and
to
if
be.
you need advice, contact the Army. They'll tell you how to do a bug out.
Okay,
You can get
Thanks,
over
John.
we'll bring you over, John.
there. Okay.
But if you'd like to come afterwards, I'll show you the pictures. Okay.
Again, Marie Schumacher, a couple of quick items. Number one, does the University of Scranton pay payment in lieu of taxes to the county or just to the city?
They do, don't they?
They do. I think it's about, Tom, what do they usually, I don't think they paid us this year, but they usually,
We have not received a payment in lieu of taxes this year. We're in the process of speaking to the University of Scranton to find ways that they can find justification for the money that they pay the county. It's about $51,000 a year that we've received in prior years.
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, because when you entered into that contract on 18-10134, I thought it would have been a perfect program to do in lieu of taxes. So, then, have you decided yet what the future, all that excess space in the newly acquired building on Wyoming Avenue, how that will be utilized?
Excess space?
Mm-hmm. I don't have the exact thousands of square footage, but there was a lot of that building that was going to be excess. Is there a committee that's looking at what could go in there?
We don't have anybody here that's talking about the build out, but I'll answer it under commissioner's business.
Okay. And finally, oh, no, not finally. What I really was trying to do when I went to the Scranton City Council and noted a certain property in the city that was being exempt, what I was trying to do was get them to do a HUP test, because I am convinced there are more than one pieces of property that the institutions, because they are 501c3, are being given exemption from the property tax, and they are not purely charitable institutions. And so I have asked you in the past to do a HUP test to make each of those property owners tell you why they are eligible under those 5 conditions that are required to be passed for the HUP test. And I don't know why we can't go ahead with that. I mean, as you know, I am for property reassessment, but also this HUP test would go a long way. I believe like 39% of the property, the assessment of the Scranton properties are exempt from property taxes, which puts a significant burden on the rest of us, even though they're utilized. And speaking of the common level ratio, some gentleman, I don't know who it was, but gave me the assessment, and the ratio is 4.5 million for this building, which is typical of Scranton. That means that we are paying more in taxes because our properties are over or under assessed. From what the true market value is, I believe, well, it's going to change soon, but it's 6%, and it's, I believe the actual ratio of what you're accepting is 4.5. So we really need to do something about that, and I would request once again that you consider doing the HUP test on the properties throughout the county. And I do have one more thing. Is there anything in the, I don't even know what, do you operate under a charter, a home rule charter for the county? Is that the, okay, and I haven't ever looked at it, obviously. But is there an established time to fill the chief of staff position or any position? No. And will that be advertised, and is it your position to advertise all openings? And was the recent purchasing opening, was that advertised, and where? Those are my issues. Thank you.
Marie, just one more time. Properties are underassessed as compared to the sale price, is that what you said?
Well, Scranton properties are overassessed, so we pay on a higher value than what our sale price would be if we tried to put it on the market.
Scranton properties are overassessed?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
On average,
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Cummings.
I guess I'll start with the public's questions. Joan, I agree with you on the working microphones because it's very annoying. So maybe we could do that before we leave this building. Get another microphone or something. I know that there's something underneath the desk that they had a problem with because they did ask about that previously, and that was the answer I got. The agenda items, they should. The only problem I have, Joan, with the papers being, I mean, this is the stack, so this is what we, so we would have to, I mean, do they leave that there, nobody takes that?
They print out one, it stays at the city clerk's desk, okay, and you can go in there and you can read through it.
It's a good idea. I mean, I didn't know. I'll look at it and I'll see. Yeah, that's a good idea, so maybe we can do that, Commissioner.
Also, it locks you into having to, close your agenda. One business day early, with the exception of valid emergencies. That way, you aren't gonna be surprised, public's not gonna be surprised, and things work in an orderly fashion.
Thank you for the suggestion, and I think it's something we should look at, so thank you. the payables on the legals, I do have those. I'm sure Lena can get them for you if you want them. And as well as the pictures of us where we're going with the construction. Marie, thank you for the questions you asked. As far as the hub test is concerned, I know that Solicitor Brazil and I had requested from our Mr. Foley the information, and we did receive, he did give us a list of exempt properties, which I do have, and we're reviewing now. So I'm looking at that, as well as Solicitor Brazil was also concerned with that and interested in that. And if you want the microphone, yeah.
I did talk to Mr. Foley, and I indicated to him that if anybody comes in with a 501c3, that should be a board decision, not an internal decision, where the proof of their charitable nature has to be presented to the board.
So they'll be vetted.
So they'll be
They'll
vetted.
be vetted.
So
Good.
He's going to implement that.
Good.
Okay, well, I mean, I met with, the recorder of deeds as well, and I thought that's why she was here, but apparently it wasn't. Because they did pay a transfer tax.
Right.
So it should have been known that they were not tax exempt, and I have it right in front of me. So why they did pay that is why they didn't pay when they had, they have to fill out a realty transfer tax statement of value. Okay? It's right there, whether they're exempt or not. Why was it not? When I bought my house, regardless of exempt or non-exempt, if I disagreed with the taxes and I went to an appeals hearing, it doesn't mean I don't have to pay the taxes that they're saying I have to pay currently. So regardless of whether this was going to court or not, there's no excuse for this. None. I don't understand what happened here. I've researched, the whole entire thing makes no sense, and I would truly want further investigation on this issue, because I am not pleased, and neither is the community, with the fact that something like this was let go. And there's no excuse for it. It had multiple, we don't need a reassessment to know whether this is a tax exempt property or not. There was 3 different areas where this should have been picked up on, between the Recorder of Deeds office and the Mr. Foley's office. So it was just, it just didn't happen. I don't know why. I'm just saying it's a human error. And I've gotten a couple deeds on tax exempt and non-exempt, and every single one of them, there's no reason why our office did not know this. So I'm not done looking at it, because something needs to be done about this, because there's something not right there, and I'm not happy about that. I'm not letting it go. I'll talk about it at every meeting, so that's just going to be an issue for me. As far as I watch Scranton City Council's meetings. I always try to get them on YouTube. I watch them, but reassessment, I'm sorry, is not going to change this from happening. It's obviously it's a bad tax law. There's multiple areas where errors can occur, and human errors can occur, as was just proven. So it's a bad tax law. It needs to be changed. The tax law is a bad tax law. They should have been participating in any appeals. They should have known this. So, that's their responsibility to fight for their taxpayers in their city, as well as the school board's responsibility. They have every right to come in and into these appeals hearings. We put them up online, for crying out loud, every 2 weeks that they occur, so that people know when they're occurring, and we also put the outcome afterwards. It's right on our website and the assessor's office. So there's absolutely no reason why the school boards and the city administration can't provide somebody at those appeals hearings if they have a complaint on what's happening and they're being decreased. That's their job. That's not our job to fight for every single appeal. That's every borough and city's job, to come into those appeals hearings and fight for their taxpayers. And they're not. So they can point fingers up at the county and say you're not doing reassessment all they want. But you know what? We got here because they weren't doing theirs. So let them prove to me that they've come in here and fought for the appeals process for their taxpayers. There's multiple areas like that that aren't being done. The permit process. We've implemented our community relations people are going and picking up permits, for crying out loud, for municipalities because we weren't getting them. There's multiple areas on this tax law that are just inefficient and just haven't been working, and we're trying our best to make sure that all the different pieces of the puzzle are put together so that it does work. And there is going to be human error in that because it's just a bad tax law. And that's what my complaint is on that law. It's just bad tax law. And reassessment is not going to cure what ails that tax law. Until you have no human error whatsoever involved in this, it's always going to be a bad tax law. And that's just the way I feel about it. And, I'm happy that Scranton City Council feels that we should pay for reassessment and their hub test. But, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't vote for that. And that's just a ridiculous statement to make, among many. But next on the subject is medical marijuana. I see that my last discussion on medical marijuana and exchange between our, drug and alcohol, Barb Durkin, nothing was spoken about in the paper. Not one word. Prior to that, when nobody was here and I was just talking about facts from research that I've done for the past, I don't know how many months, all of a sudden it's cut because, well, I guess they don't want to say the same terrible things about our Barb Durkin as they say about me. This is ridiculous with these we hear Scranton City Councilor talking about being civil, and in the same token they have all these articles that go out claiming that what I'm saying isn't true, but then I bring in experts to prove that what I'm saying is true, and nothing is written. Nothing. Again, I had a conversation with Dr. Thompson and Barb Durkin where we were talking about the way this rollout had occurred with medical marijuana. Completely unacceptable. There has been no legitimate research done. Now they're going to use our citizens that are utilizing these dispensaries as the people they're going to do the studies on. They need 25 people from each different diagnosis to do a research on it. And even then, they don't know if they're going to get the DEA and the feds to approve the programs. So to have a doctor recommend use of marijuana based on a diagnosis, and then you go to the state and fill out a questionnaire and get a permission card to shop at a dispensary where there's questionable guidelines at best, according to Dr. Thompson, and there's not even a recommendation on dosage for this stuff. You have somebody that was trained for 2 to 4 hours, and they can purchase a 30-day supply. Nobody knows who decides what. The client's determining the amount they're going to take. I mean, there's no dosages. This is irresponsible. So don't tell me that I'm wrong in this, because you don't just tell people, here, take this medication. You could figure out the dosage on your own. Little by little, increase it to see how you're affected by it. Give me a break. Please don't try and tell me that that's okay. Because if you think I'm going to sit up here and say it is, you're all out of your mind, because this is the worst rollout of any kind of whatever they're trying to call it. They're calling it medicinal marijuana. Well, usually a doctor writes a prescription for that, and that's what we all thought 2 years ago when this was passed was going to happen, like it did with Marinol. But that's not what happened. What happened was people are walking into these dispensaries and being told by a store clerk to gradually take this substance in and increase it as they can tolerate it. And it's an oil format right now, and I think we were approved for a leaf being sold as well through the advisory council that they have. And, I talk about the percentage of people taking this. I don't know if it's effective or not, because we don't have any legitimate research to say it is. So I'll continue to talk about it, and I will have more things coming out from CCAP as well, because county commissioners across our area are not happy with this. I'm not the only one, so I'll continue to bring the topic up, and I'll continue to bring experts in so that you can at least print what they write, because that's fine by me. In the letter to the editor on June 21st, Kathy Berardelli wrote on her dilemma. I live in a subdivision in the Trip Park section of Scranton. My husband and I built this home in 2004 where we lived with my 3 children. My children are now grown and on their own, and it's time to move on and sell my home. My home has been for sale since April 2017, and several people have inquired about it, and once they hear about the taxes, they are deterred by this. I cannot sell my home because my taxes are $7,273. This city is a despicable shame. No one can sell their homes to better themselves. This is a very discouraging situation. Something should be done. Kathy Berardelli. Scranton City Council, or Scranton, I'm sorry, not Scranton City Council, I apologize. Scranton has just had their tax sales within the past month, and I was, as many were, bombarded by phone calls requesting help with their taxes. And I just have to say I received a thank you card from one of those people that I did help, and multiple phone calls and emails thanking me, but I don't want to say the name of the people, but I would like to just say one situation was heartbreaking, that I had a woman that was, I'll just say, between 68 and 72 years old, and literally had to go look for a part-time job to pay a $900 bill, or her house was being taken off of her. This is horrendous, that people are losing their... I don't know how many times I can say that this is such a bad tax law. Reassessment isn't going to help that woman. That woman's home was going up. She couldn't afford $900. She's not going to be able to afford anything over that. And she was in congestive heart failure, and the doctor wouldn't let her get that part-time job. Now, that's just a disgrace. It's just disgraceful. This tax law has to be changed. It is killing our citizens. It is not right for one person to lose their home, let alone people that I have heard from in the past month that live in the city of Scranton, that are residents just in the city of Scranton. It's a shame. It's a disgrace, and it's not the American way of life, where you lose your home after you retire because you no longer have income and have to go out and get a part-time job just to pay your taxes. It's a disgrace, and the law needs to be changed. It just absolutely has to be changed. Harrisburg has to get on the ball and get the job done. It's about time that these people had some property tax relief, and that's why I will never vote for anything that's funded by LSA. Never. Not after I've seen what's occurred to the people and the residents of our community. Losing their properties is an absolute black mark on our area and our state. I want to welcome Mr. Wexler to Lackawanna County. I was not asked by the Scranton Times for my commentary. Apparently, whenever Commissioner Jerry Natariani is mentioned, it's a glowing report, so I mean, I guess that's just the way it's going to continue to be. But whenever it's about myself, it's just going to be negative nastiness. And elections are coming up, as you can tell from the reports in the newspaper and the way things are going right now. So I never got a call. Now, I have to say I'm disappointed, not because of the person that was. I think that Mr. Wexler is very qualified for the position he's in, but it was not put in the paper. And I disagree with the way that that was, I'm looking for I have a statement on it, so let me just get that out. I really characterize this as a political hire because the position was not advertised. It wasn't even listed on the Lackawanna County website where the position could have been posted for free. In fact, the last job listed as on our website is from March for seasonal part-time tour guide for the coal mine tour. This is not a statement on the individual hired. I want to make sure that I repeat that again because it is not a statement on the individual hired because I know how my words somehow get misconstrued when I speak. Honestly, I don't feel extremely qualified to speak on behalf of the qualifications that he has because I was not allowed to interview him. I did request it. And I was told I would be given the opportunity, but regardless, that it was going to happen anyway. And I did call the Scranton Times and asked them why I was not called for my comment on it, and I still have no answer as to why I was not called. So, like I said, I guess whenever Commissioner Notarianni votes on something, it's okay, but that's just the way I'm seeing it at this point. Also, in the Scranton Times, they feel the need to come after me for the monuments, the comments, and in regards to me wanting Jesus Christ put as the author of a comment on the monuments. This isn't about me. I wasn't here when this was put on those monuments. That was done, how many years ago was that done? Does anybody even know? When was that, Tracy? 10 years ago, maybe? 20? When was it done?
Are you talking about the monuments at the courthouse, Commissioner? That was...
Yes, when all those comments were put up there?
It was done back under the Cordero administration, I'm not sure.
I wasn't here.
6 or 7? Yeah.
So...
What, 2010?
12 years ago.
Apparently, some people think I actually requested this to be put on the monuments, this statement itself. Well, that's not the facts. We had someone come in, somebody very well respected by myself and many others come in, and bring this to our attention that this was not in fact done, that there was a quote by Jesus Christ that was not labeled as such. And myself being a born-again Christian, I agree it should be labeled as such. But apparently the paper decides to say Bible citation TIF needless. It's one thing to go after me, but when our society is condemning the name of my Lord and Savior, I don't know if he's yours or not, it's extremely upsetting to think that this is what our society has become, that we won't even recognize our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, on something that has been there for over 10 years. It's very upsetting that our society has become this area that I don't even recognize, to not recognize Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. It's very disturbing. And I'm not going to stop talking about that either, because it's not about me. This is something that I think needs to be looked at in regards to where we're going, and what our society values. And I would never, ever deny Jesus' name, ever. If the Scranton Times would like to mock me for that, I will be perfectly willing to accept that mock. Thank you.
Commissioner Notarianni?
I,
Commissioner Notarianni?
My position on reassessment has been stated, and it's been proven, and it's been factual through chambers and real estate, realtors, but some people choose not to believe those facts. As far as the medical marijuana, it's not something that I fully understand at all. Don't have an opinion on it at this point, but that's a different issue. As far as things being put on the agenda at the last minute, I don't think that should occur either, but that was resolved today. As far as that goes, I'm fine. We have a 1 o'clock meeting that people are waiting in the hallway to get at. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. The Wyoming Avenue property, I'm not sure about what space is left over, but I know that it's the way it's situated for it to have a courtroom, holding cells, offices, and things such as that. I'm not sure about what space is left over. So, yeah, so like you said, you know, what I mean, whatever space is out there, I'm sure will be utilized because we're going to be putting a lot. If it's going to be actually, it's going to have a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's going to be a small central court out on Wyoming Avenue. Reassessment, very simple. The general election, our citizens, we asked a question, and they voted overwhelmingly that they didn't want reassessment, even though the courts said that question wasn't valid. They came out and voted anyway. And what really concerns me is if they thought it was like valid to itself, how many more would have came out? And there was also another question on there, and it was the Farmstead. What question was on there for the Farmstead Act in the November election? What was that for? The Homestead Act.
The Homestead Act question was on there for the state.
It didn't come near the amount of votes that the citizens of Lackawanna County voted to be against reassessment in Lackawanna County. I'm sorry, as commissioner, that's who I'm listening to for that for that issue. We have a great 3rd of July coming up. I just like to invite everyone to the historic Lackawanna County Courthouse for Lackawanna County Presents Scrantastic Spectacular. The event starts on Tuesday, July 3rd. 4 p.m. on, music, fireworks, entertainment. It's going to be a great day. Please come on out and enjoy our courthouse. Also, Merle Sanowski is going to be having its Arts in the Park, and that's going to be on July 10th. It's free, just like the fireworks display is, and that's 10 a.m. to noon. And please come out. Your children will love it. It's a great opportunity to have fun and to see Merle Sanowski Park. Our family fun days at the park will be at Merle Sanowski Park on July 14th itself, and that is 11 to 2 p.m., and that's free for the families too, and there'll be hot dogs and orange drink and lots of good things to do at the park. And last but not least, for those in the community who are interested in our 3-on-3 basketball tournament, which will be July 27th through the 29th of 2018, we have teams, boys and girls division, from 3rd grade up, like all the way up, and anyone that would like to, that's interested in getting their team in, please call the Lackawanna County Community Relations at 570-963-6743. And last but not least, to allow everyone in Lackawanna County, 214,000 citizens, have a happy and safe 4th of July coming up. Can I have a motion? I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. We have a